Hi guys, welcome back to Demystifying RBI Grade B. I hope आप लोगों की preparation काफ़ी अच्छी चल रही होगी. As promised, I've come up with a new video on finance PYQs. So today we are going to discuss about them and we are going to find out कि क्या RBI जो syllabus में देता है क्या उससे ही क्वेश्चन पूछता है. So let's see. Uh, this is the syllabus which was given by the RBI for the finance. So it consists of financial systems. We have to read about the Reserve Bank of India for obvious reasons and the financial institutions. Then we have to read about the functions and the conduct of the monetary policy. Then we have to read about the banking system in India with SIDBI, Exim Bank, NABARD, NHB, and the changing landscape of banking sector. Then, as a special mention, they have given here the impact of the global financial crisis of 2007-8 and the Indian response to it. In the B part, there is financial market, which consists of primary and secondary markets, forex, money, bond, equity, etc., and the recent developments in them. Then there are some general topics like risk management in banking sector, like Basel III norms we have to read here. Then there is basics of derivatives, global financial market, financial inclusion, alternate source of finance, corporate governance in banking sector, the union budget, inflation, and the fintech. So let's start with the financial system and let's see the questions asked from it. So here is the 2021 का question paper. यहाँ पर they have asked 3 questions. इसमें से एक descriptive question था जिसमें उन्होंने सिडबी, एग्जिम, नाबार्ड, एनएचबी और आरआरबी के बारे में नोट लिखवाया. And we have already seen here, it's mentioned like you have to read those financial institutions. So obviously it was there in the syllabus. Then there was a true and false question, which is very easy. You should know what RBI regulates, what SEBI regulates, and you can do it. Then there was this question. In this, there was asked like how much FDI is allowed in the PSU banks under the government approval, right? So I think we all know, like for the PSBs there is 20%, and for private sector banks it's 74%. If and only like after the government approval. So yeah, so this is you are going to studying your statics labors, everything. So in 2022 there was I think yeah, these 4 questions were there in 2022. First question was about the legal identity identifier. So I think this was the answer for it. It's like a 20 character alphanumeric code used to uniquely identify parties to financial transactions worldwide. It's again the part of the static. The long-term repo operations, it was very much in news during the COVID, and a descriptive question was asked on it. Then 2008 global financial crisis descriptive question was asked. And as to mention here, there was a question like the impact, sorry, it was mentioned in the syllabus about the impact of global financial crisis, right? So हमको पढ़ के तो जाना ही था. So they asked that in the descriptive. Then there was a very good question about the banks using outsourcing. अब ये स्टैटिक में मोस्टली कोचिंग इंस्टीट्यूशंस या आप कहीं पर देखोगे तो नहीं पढ़ा जाता है. एंड आई थिंक इट वाज मेंशन इन 2005 का आरबीआई सर्कुलर. सो ऑब्वियसली कोई नहीं करने वाला है 2005 का सर्कुलर तो. बट इस क्वेश्चन को आप बहुत स्मार्टली अपने कॉमन सेंस से सॉल्व कर सकते हो. क्वेश्चन है टिपिकली आउटसोर्स फाइनेंशियल सर्विसेज इंक्लूड एप्लीकेशन प्रोसेसिंग, लोन ओरिजिनेशन, क्रेडिट कार्ड एंड. So if you just read those options, you will see यार data processing, so they have already outsourced. बहुत सारे प्राइवेट कंपनीज को वो करवाते हैं. एंड डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोसेसिंग ऑल्सो उन लोगों ने कुछ बंदे रखे हुए हैं फॉर डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोसेसिंग. अगर 2 ऑप्शन सही हैं इसका मतलब ऑल ऑफ द अबव आंसर होगा. ई आंसर हमारे पास आ गया. अब हम नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन की तरफ आते हैं. लाइक देयर आर सर्टेन एक्टिविटीज विच कैन नॉट बी आउटसोर्स बाय द बैंक, लाइक कैन नॉट बी आउटसोर्स. ओके, सम ऑफ देम आर ए एंड बी. सो दे आस्क लाइक आइडेंटिफाई ए. वी नो इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजमेंट आंसर यहाँ पे आ चुका है. लाइक सुपरविजन ऑफ लोन्स यहाँ पे आंसर आ चुका है. स्कोर बैंकिंग मैनेजमेंट ऑब्वियसली बैंक खुद करता है, दे डोंट आउटसोर्स इट, राइट? सो आप बहुत इजीली इसको कर सकते थे. देन देयर वाज आइडेंटिफाई बी, इन्वेस्टमेंट मैनेजमेंट, determining compliance with the KYC norms, data processing, document processing. We see here Like data processing, document processing, already there. Investment management was already there. So only one option was left, KYC norms. And obviously the compliance with KYC norms that need to be seen by the officers of the bank, right? So yeah, it was the answer. So आप इसे थोड़े से कॉमन सेंस से कर सकते हो. ऐसा नहीं होगा कि हर एक आंसर आपको पता होगा, हर एक आंसर आपके स्टैटिक सिलेबस में होगा. बट इफ यू जस्ट यूज योर कॉमन सेंस ड्यूरिंग द एग्जाम, आप क्वेश्चंस को सॉल्व कर सकते हो. व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज यू हैव टू कंट्रोल योर एंजाइटी. आई थिंक दैट्स द थिंग. अगर ये कंट्रोल में है, so you can easily solve the answers, sorry, solve the questions. So now here, these were the questions from the primary and the secondary market from 2021. So there was a paragraph actually, and there were A, B, C, D options in the paragraph, like you have to fill them. So it was all about the IPO, I think. So who regulates it, right? And then you have UPI से आप pay कर सकते हो, and it should be a self-certified syndicate. Banks can only participate in ASBA. And the fourth question was like, who is the regulator of capital market? We obviously know it's SEBI. If you are preparing for banking exams, आप I know आप कभी ना कभी SEBI को तो आपने सुना ही होगा. So आप इसको आराम से मार्क कर सकते थे. Then there was a question on which of the following are depositories, and the correct answer was this one: the National Security Depository Limited and the Central Depository Services India Limited. And then there was a numerical here. Though numerical was not asked in 2022, but in 2021 there was just this one numerical, and it was pretty easy. P by E ratio निकालना था, so just go through it once when you are seeing your static question part. Then let's come to money market. In money market in 2021 there was no question asked, but in 2022 there was a question on commercial paper, and like there was a paragraph explaining like there is a commercial paper, and there were four questions that followed that paragraph. So first question was like, it can be issued for a minimum number of days and maximum number of days, and in which denomination of rupees, lakhs, or multiples. So by seeing this question we can say like you have to read T bills, commercial bill papers, zero coupon bonds in depth, because अगर आपको नहीं पता होगा 7 दिन तो आप ये क्वेश्चन नहीं कर सकते. And just to tell you here, in 2019 also the commercial paper question was asked. So yeah, it's important kind of, but आपको T bill, commercial paper ये सब depth में पढ़ना होगा. And they are available in the static. So yeah, it's mentioned in the syllabus. From bonds, there was no question asked in 2021, but there was a question in 2022. Like the FPI limit on the corporate bonds was set again, and it was 15%. So it was like a kind of current affair question, you can say. So yeah, you would have read it in Economic Times or the Business Standard if you're following those newspaper. Then for the risk management in the banking sector, there was Basel norm ka question. I think Basel is like damn important. You have to do it. उससे क्वेश्चंस आ ही सकते हैं. आई थिंक 2022 में कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आया, बट 2023 इट कैन बी देयर अगेन ऑन द बेसल नॉर्म्स. Then for financial inclusion in 2021 there was a question. um, it was a paragraph, and again there was ABC options which need to be replaced, and it was all about fast tag. So yeah, it was a pretty easy question. And in 2022 there was a question on MSMEs, how they play a crucial role, and it was asked like, for small scale industries, what is the limit for investment and the turnover? People will say like थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट क्वेश्चन है, और ये आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स क्वेश्चन है, बट आई टेल यू इट्स नॉट फ्रॉम करंट अफेयर्स. If you would have read the PSL lending norms, like the priority sector lending norms, you would have come across the MSMEs. Because when you are reading the static, you will come across SIDBI. If you are coming across SIDBI, you will come across Mudra. If you are coming across Mudra, then you have to read about MSMEs. Then you will read about micro, small MSMEs too, and their investment and the turnover. So yeah, it was kind of static question. You just have to give your 100% to static. Then there was alternate source of finance, private and social cost benefits, public-private partnership. Here, in 2021, there was a question from hybrid annuity model. It's a kind of model which is used for by NHAI for building roads, right? So that was asked, and there was a full paragraph on it. So yeah, please do read about it. I think for here you can have a Brunal as a source if you want. Um, you can find all those things here. And if you're following any other coaching institute, I think that's also fine. For the union budget in 2021, there were two questions. Like there was asked like five major announcements in budget, descriptive question was there. And for yeah, here they were the exam. They were. It was asked like what are the examples of the revenue expenditure. So if you would have gone through the budget वाला static portion, आप आराम से इसको कर सकते हैं. बहुत easy questions आए थे दोनों ही. For fintech, in 2021 there was a regulatory sandbox that was announced by the RBI. So उससे question आया था. And for 2022, obviously blockchain is very much in news because of this DeFi thing, right? So descriptive question उससे आया था यहाँ पर. Current questions की बात करें, so there was a question from the PIDF scheme, uh, and it was asked like how much money RBI is going to give for it, and actually uh, PIDF monitoring committee was formed under RBI deputy governor, so it's kind of RBI ka current affairs, right? So that's why I think they asked it. And then again, this is the question, this kind of question you don't lose your sleep, right? Don't lose your sleep on this question because sometimes these questions will come and it's just like 2 marks. So it's okay. Sometimes you have to take that risk. Then from derivatives, global financial market, corporate governance, inflation, there was no question asked in the 2021 and 2022. So be prepared for them in 2023. I think there can be a question from inflation in the corporate governance in the banking sector. So now let's see what are the key takeaways from this video. फर्स्ट प्लीज 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 फोकस ऑन स्टैटिक. करंट कहीं नहीं भागा जा रहा है. आप मुझे पता है वी पीपल लव टू रीड करंट क्योंकि करंट हर दिन कुछ नया हो रहा है एंड वी वांट टू रीड इट. बट स्टैटिक इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लाइक स्टैटिक इज गोइंग टू बी योर 80% एंड करंट इज गोइंग टू बी योर 20%. अगर आपका स्टैटिक अच्छा है तो आप करंट के क्वेश्चंस भी आराम से कर सकते हो बिकॉज यू कैन easily interlink them together. And in 2022, RBI asked finance current during the phase one itself. So I think that's why there were no more finance current affair questions in the phase two. So keep check on that too. From budget and survey, there were no questions asked, but please don't neglect budget. Okay, because in phase one itself, there were questions from budget, and in phase two, they may ask. And budget is obviously important. You are preparing for RBI, right? And now I want to address the comments from the last video. People were saying like it's impossible to cover the syllabus in 2 months. So here I want to tell you about the Parkinson law, guys. It is very easy law which says that the work expends to fill the time allotted for its completion. अगर आई थिंक आप लोग ने सबने कॉलेज में भी ये चीज़ देखी होगी. जब हमें कोई प्रोजेक्ट सबमिट करना होता है, हम 2 दिन में भी उसको प्रोजेक्ट को कंप्लीट कर लेते हैं, मे बी एक रात में उस प्रोजेक्ट को कंप्लीट कर देते हैं, जिस प्रोजेक्ट को हम लोग कम से कम 30 डेज या 60 डेज से कंप्लीट नहीं कर पा रहे थे. इट वॉज जस्ट बिकॉज द टाइम अवेलेबल फॉर दैट वॉज वेरी लेस. सो यू गाइज हैव टू कीप दैट इन माइंड. आप एक साल के लिए अगर प्रिपेयर कर रहे हो तो आपके लिए टाइम काफी ज्यादा एक्सपेंड हो चुका है, तो आप बहुत धीरे धीरे करोगे और आपको सब कुछ मुश्किल लगेगा. बट वेन देर आर जस्ट 2 months फॉर you will go all in, and when you go all in, you will obviously you are going to do much better, right? So just keep this law in mind, and believe me, 2 months is possible. And thank you for watching this video. The next video is going to be on the economic and social issues ka PYQ. I'm not committing when, but it's going to be soon. So keep watching. See you again.